I was thinking about this video, and a title could be I Am Camping Sad, which basically means that I'm thinking about the camping plans for the spring and summer and the fall, and I just don't know um, where it's going to lead because our countries are in such turmoil, really. We're all experiencing huge changes. And as far as Canada goes, we're experiencing a lot of change too. So we're involved in this. I was going to call it a Trump war. It's really a tariff war. And in Canada, we're being encouraged not to travel to the U.S., not to buy American products. And even without the government suggesting such, and it is only a suggestion, it's not an edict, you must do this. Even with their suggestion, I think a lot of Canadians, especially the ones that I've talked to and the ones we hear about on the media and the news, they're already with that mindset that they want to buy Canada as much as we can, buy local, buy Canadian goods as much as we can. There was this, and a lot of our ads on TV are suddenly showing us Canadians, all the stuff that is Canadian. So there was an ad where this Alberta farmer, he makes pasta and supplies it to Canada and was supplying it to the US, and tomato sauce, tomato-based products. And I've seen his name, Unico. I just thought it was like not American. I just thought it was Italian, or I just went for the usual brands that I buy, which a lot of were American. American pasta, American sauces. So now, when I go to the grocery store, now I'm heightened and aware of this. I will definitely buy the Canadian product. And in the stores, they have been flagging, really, the Canadian maple leaf has been appearing on all these shelves. So all these products can be more readily identifiable. I think what's going to happen is Canadian businesses are going to grow, some of them, because we're now buying our own product, which is good. It's sad because, you know what, I had this trip planned in my mind, and this was the year I wanted to do it, where I would go down to the Shenandoah Valley. I wanted to camp on the Shenandoah River. I wanted to visit a lavender farm. I just wanted to enjoy the beauty and the scenery. Every time I have traveled into the US, almost every time I end up going through the Virginias. And we're going through them, we're not stopping. So I always said, one day I'm going to stop here. It's a 10-hour drive for us from where I live. And I had it in my mind that this year, 2025, I'm going to do it. And of course, now, I still can do it, but it's hard not to join in and support my fellow Canadians. um, I think the idea is that, as Americans become more and more aware of just what's happening to your friends here in Canada, that, you will be sending your letters and you're making your calls or whatever it is that you do to let your government know that, hey, we're not happy with this. Now, that's me assuming that you're not happy with it. But so far, with every American that I have talked to that I know, none of them are happy with this. In fact, we have family members, I have cousins in the States, I have American roots. My ancestors first landed in Philadelphia and homesteaded in New Jersey, and then eventually moved up into Canada. Because why? Because the Canadian government was offering free land to anybody who wanted to come up and build and agree to build roads. And so if you go to Grimsby, Ontario, you're going to find my ancestors' road names there. For example, Conrad Street and John Street, all in Grimsby, because they were some of the guys that landed there and built the roads. And I guess maybe the roads they built were named after them. And it made sense because Conrad Book came up in a Conestoga wagon with his wife, and the youngest was 2 years old. baby, they had cattle, they had sheep. They brought all of this across Niagara Falls. How do you do that? You go to Lewiston, which is you go down the hill and you cross over the river. And they did that by a pulley system with a raft. So they got everything over there, and his oldest son, John, joined him. The rest of the kids stayed in Pennsylvania. So, and then hence I still have American roots and ancestors and cousins and so forth in Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, different places like that, Florida. And anyways, so it made sense that John and his father, Conrad, would want to build paths, roads from John's house to Conrad's house and so forth. And in fact, at the museum in Grimsby, you can find a replica of the log cabin home that my ancestor built. And I was lucky because I have a cousin who did 300 years of history of our family line on my mother's side. And so I have a lot of names. He didn't just do the book family line. He did like the Schneiders and all these other offshoots. And so if you have a name you want me to search out, if it's in my records, I'll let you know. And then maybe I can get a copy of the records to you. It's not published, so maybe we should publish it or sell it to the Heritage Council. I don't know. See, these days, two things are affecting me. One is being a senior. I'm physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually able to do all kinds of things to exercise all of those elements of life. And I want to do camping and so forth. But the senior pensions they're better than the ones in America, from what I hear, but they're still low. And my job, my part-time work, which I've needed to supplement and make ends meet with our budget, senior budget, is threatened because I work for an American company. So I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the tariffs, maybe they're going to slip in under the wire and nobody will notice, like, oh, let's not touch that, because they're going for really big corporations. So I'm not sure how it's all going to end up. So that is threatened. The economy in Canada is threatened. The economy in the US is threatened. The relationship, the friendship between our countries is threatened. Personally, my income is threatened. So it's hard to be really happy about, hey, let's go camping. I can't wait for the season. Let's buy a lot of stuff. Can't buy a lot of stuff. And camping's not about going out and buying a lot of stuff. So I'll share this in the subsequent video, but I was looking at these little kits on Amazon that has all your kitchen gadgets in a bag, a container you zip up. And I got thinking, I could buy it, I could buy it, I could buy it. And then I said, well, maybe I should just make it and buy local. And that's what I'm doing. So I'll share how I put that kit together later on. But right now, I just wanted to just come in here and say that I'm not feeling all that great. And it's because of the economy and because of the weather and the uncertainty of what's happening with our countries, tariffs on, tariffs off. That would unsettle, I think, the most stable of persons. There is a plan, and the plan is buy local. Okay, here's a funny thing I thought of. Yeah, so we're headed for really tight times. But guess what? The Ontario Liquor Control Board has decided to lower some alcohol prices. I'm like, like, okay, great, right? We were not going to be able to handle things. We're under stress, but we can drink. We can drink more frequently. We can drink cheaply. Anyway, that's just kind of a joke. So I just wanted to come here and say that, and I'll do my best to create some videos. And you know what? We have a full week of sunshine. We still have a bit of snow coming, but we have a full week of sunshine, so that's probably going to make a difference. I looked back in my journal. My journal, this newest one I have, started in March of 2024, and I'm getting to the end pages, March. So that's a full year. So I looked back at last March, and it's interesting to note that my emotional mood was a bit low then as well. I'm not depressed. It's just the blues. I keep thinking of that song. that the Beatles did. Um, Baby's are black and I'm feeling blue. Hey, what can I do? So, what am I going to say here? I looked in my journal and the mood was similar. But here's the thing, I was out trimming my garden. March 7th, there was no snow, and I was trimming the garden and filling up the bird feeder because a lot of the birds were showing up. And today I'm like, all right, so this is like a year later. We still have like 3 feet, 4 feet of snow out in our yards. And I haven't seen many birds, but I've been feeding bunnies. And here's another funny thing. We have these two wild rabbits that come up and they land on our porch, and I've been giving them carrots and lately I was chopping up some romaine lettuce, and you just keep the end piece and take off some of the real rough pieces. And I thought, oh, feed it to the bunnies. So I've been feeding all this stuff to bunnies, and they've been pooping on our porch. So we've been just sweeping it off and trying to get rid of it. And I read about the droppings of rabbits, and they are good fertilizer. They are a non-burning type of fertilizer. They don't have, like other fertilizers, have to wait a period of time. These don't. And so I've been feeding the bunnies seeds because I remember in the spring they loved seeds last year. So now I'm scooping up their uh, little bunny pellets, their poop, and I'm keeping it in a container. And so I'm keeping the porch clean that way. But I thought this is interesting. So they are my original composters. The bunnies are eating the stuff I would normally put into a compost pile. The bunnies are eating that stuff, the greens and grains and different things. And they're pooping, and I'm saving up the poop, and I'm putting it in my garden to fertilize. And meanwhile, I'm also harvesting seeds from tomatoes that I have, that I purchase in the stores. And I'm going to grow tomatoes, potatoes, and green onions. Guess where the green onions come from? From the USA. Too bad we can't grow orange trees, but we can grow pear trees and apple trees. And Canada actually has a lot of really good stuff. And a lot of us are becoming way more aware of just how great and wonderful and bountiful we are. So I think about my ancestors. They didn't have electricity when they first came here. It was in the late 1700s. So no electricity. So they had to draw their own water, boil it. They couldn't go and buy some Nestle water from the grocery store. They didn't have grocery stores. They grew their own produce, raised their own animals, and did all the stuff. We are so far from that. I suppose some farmers have that and some homesteaders have that, but we might be leaning just in a small portion back towards that. So I'm going to have tomatoes, potatoes, green onions, and there was a fourth thing right now. It's escaped me, but as the season goes along and as I'm able to go camping, which will probably be local, because we're encouraged to do our provincial parks, and I'm also afraid that they're going to fill up and it's going to be hard to get spots. So who knows? There might be some boondocking camping. I've been looking around. Yep, I've been looking around. So, whenever we go through hard times, usually some kind of goodness comes out of it all. You may not see it right away, but it does show up and it does arrive. So I'm trusting in that. So the funny thing is, even me doing this video, I'm like, oh, how can I do that video today? How can I do it? This has cheered me up. So thanks for listening, for being here, for stopping by. If you're new, welcome. Nice to see you. Stick around because it might be camping related. Probably, but you never know what's going to happen, especially these days. We're all kind of in the same boat. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for coming.